With Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 257, we finally learn what Yuji really is, along with his insane connection to Sukuna. His second curse technique is revealed, and not only does he rival the King of Curses, but he might even surpass him. After Megami's body had been taken over, Uraume asked Sukuna what Yuji is. The king did not hesitate to call the boy Kenjaku's child, although the exact body Kenjaku used to make him isn't something Sukuna knows. Uraume admitted that before they laughed at his pitiful expression, he felt something very reminiscent of Sukuna from within Yuji. And this wasn't just some leftover bits of power. He described it as being more like an empty shell that was actively retaining elements of the King of Curses. Sukuna pointed the blame at Kenjaku since the curse wouldn't have a child without a purpose behind it. Sukuna then explained that the person Kenjaku made a child with, Yuji's father, was most likely a reincarnated fragment of himself. That is to say, that Yuji's father Jin has the same soul as Sukuna. Uraume was perplexed by the answer he received. Sukuna continued to say that he was originally supposed to be born a twin, but he rejected that fate. Due to birth complications caused by their mother, Sukuna devoured his twin inside the womb to avoid starvation. From there, the soul of his would-be twin drifted aimlessly until it eventually wound up in Kenjaku's possession. So effectively, Yuji is Sukuna's nephew. But the king yawned, showing his disinterest in the subject. He figured his minion already knew that Yuji wasn't just made to participate in the culling games, but also to steal his fingers. Doing so was probably necessary to ensure his strength as a vessel. Uraume didn't seem to be as clear on that information as Sukuna expected. But these revelations made the curse user wonder a bit. Does this mean that somewhere inside of Yuji Itadori is a dormant power equal to Sukuna? In the present, Yuji prepared his stance with fixated eyes. Sukuna returned the favor with an equal level of concentration. They stood in front of each other for a while, just like this. Sukuna made the first move with an extension of his hand. Yuji was ready for it, and didn't even flinch when a cut appeared close to his eye. He sought to return the favor with a fist, but Sukuna evaded. However, Yuji actually managed to grab hold of Sukuna's arm and follow past its upward trajectory, all to deliver yet another black flash to the king's gut. Sukuna's eyes focused on the unexpected blow. Sukuna tried to slam his arm back down on Yuji's, but the brat knocked into him with a hard shoulder that also resulted in a black flash. Yuji looked at his uncle with unwaveringly defiant eyes. Sukuna's smile is officially gone. Now that Yuji has locked in, he doesn't seem to be having as much fun anymore. He launched the brat away, sending him back down to the lower level. But before making it all the way down, Yuji placed a hand on one of the nearby pillars. Scissor cutout lines appeared on it. This gave Sukuna the confirmation that he needed. Yuji can use it. Yuji currently has two curse techniques within himself. The first being blood manipulation. This was engraved by his absorption of the Cursed Womb paintings numbers 4 to 9. The second one has been brought to the surface thanks to the awakened state provided by Black Flash. It is a technique engraved on the reincarnated body of Sukuna. Brine. Yuji embedded his fingers into the pillar and pulled the severed portion away from the rest. He then threw it in Sukuna's direction. And man, the fact that this all happens in a single mid-air sequence is crazy. But it's not over yet, as Sukuna opted to use a foot in retaliation. The pillar was cut into many stone rectangles, but Yuji still used his opportunity to move his hand forward despite the cutting effect. He firmly grasped Sukuna's leg, and from there, these same cut lines appeared on the king's skin. Yuji reeled back for yet another punch. Meanwhile, Sukuna gestured for yet another cleave. But even with the many cuts being delivered onto his flesh, Yuji didn't even blink as he continued to charge forward. Black Flash! It was a vicious shot to the liver. Sukuna is being noticeably damaged here. Although he recognized the brat's technique, the era and the sorcerer using it could be blamed for a large power disparity. The newly learned technique is about as weak as it will ever be. It's the accumulating Black Flash hits that are the real issue. We then receive yet another flashback of Gojo. If I didn't know any better, I might think that this guy is still alive. Ino showed up to request the use of Nanami's curse tool. Not only did Gojo see no issue with it, he also didn't see why Ino was asking them in the first place. That seemed to fluster him a bit. Ino began to call them Nanami's old friends, but knowing the guy, he corrected himself to say that they've known him the longest. To that, Gojo argued that Ino has seen the guy much more than they have since graduation, not to mention the gap of time Nanami took away from the school. Ino was taken aback by how casual they all were about the memento of a late comrade. Joko added that they were all third years at the time, although it is a technical college. Kiyotaka believed that the weapon would be best in Ino's hands anyways. Gojo agreed, and added that Nanami trusted him more than anyone else. In the present, Ino activated his auspicious beast summoning number 4, Ryu. Sukuna noticed the sorcerer just before activation. Just when he looked in its direction, he was slammed through a structure. In the time it took Ino to leap down, Sukuna already turned the monster into sushi. He then stomped down on Nanami's cursed tool before it could hit him. He then locked eyes with the attacker. But those very eyes opened wider when he noticed the return of Yuji behind him. Sukuna turned just in time to receive yet another black flash. Sukuna was in disbelief. Yuji was having no trouble chaining black flashes at all, something that not even Gojo could reliably pull off. The king wondered if the brat was planning on climbing up to his level with each power boost. There was a repelling moment of force. Ino was exhausted. He apologized to Nanami, but this fight was way beyond his level. Sukuna flashed a huge grin while slamming his palm onto the ground. With that, a wave of debris rushed up in Yuji's direction. Sukuna extended a fist in the midst of the obscuring smoke, but Yuji caught it like a beast. He hurled Sukuna into a wall. The behemoth raised a hand yet again to carve into Yuji, but it was no use. Itadori is totally unfazed by the king's combination of moves. No matter how many times he is cut, Yuji never flinches, and he pulled back for another one. Black Flash! Sukuna then grabbed the kid by the face, and not even that was enough to close his eyes. This was a point-blank cleave to the face. One of these to the chest was enough to take Yuji out of the fight earlier. But now, Yuji is on demon time. Even with only one eye, his direction remained the same. Sukuna was absolutely dumbfounded as an angry fist collided with his face. Black Flash! Now that one hurt. And for the very first time, Sukuna is actually pissed off. He yelled at the brat, but just then, something hit him in the face. It was Nanami's cursed tool. Launched like a projectile, it was able to give Yuji the moment he needed. Ino looked in their direction and was proud of not only his contribution, but his junior Yuji, who was about to give Sukuna a historic beatdown. Black Flash! This is what I like to see. We didn't see a single speech bubble from this man Yuji. Bro is over here spamming the same move against the reigning champion. And it is working. Sukuna level Yuji is a crazy thought, but very much a possibility. And just wait until he says those two magic words, domain expansion. Benevolent Shrine may become a reality. But based on what Sukuna said about brand new curse techniques, it should still have room for improvement either way. Yuji's baby version of Sukuna's power is pretty silly, but I love it. Especially since Sukuna is pretty much the kid's uncle, or soul father. At this point, Yuji has like 3 dads and no mother. That's a new one. And even if you're new to the comment section, there is no way that you don't have some thoughts on this incredible chapter, so please let us know. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.